Kirby Air Riders is a game with a variety of fun modes to enjoy, like the titular air ride racing experience or the crazy and chaotic city trial. But perhaps this game's least discussed offering is Top Ride, the overhead racer that twists the core gameplay and chops it up into bite-sized fun. So today, I'm going to be ranking the 9 Top Ride tracks from my least favorite to my favorite, and out of respect for this mode's dedication to keeping things brief, I'm also going to try and keep this one on the shorter side, as opposed to my usual yapaholic tendencies in other similar videos. Just please keep in mind that this is all my own opinion, and you're free to express your own in the comments below as long as you keep things civil. So now without further ado, let's begin. Last place is going to Crystal. I think it's really unfortunate just how much of a far cry this one is from the air ride stage it's based on. Crystalline Fissure has so many different sub-areas, clever routing, and creative gimmicks, while the Top Ride version has basically none of that. The layout is on the bland side. The whole track has more or less a uniform aesthetic, and perhaps most disappointingly of all, the few gimmicks that are present on this stage are a total snooze fest. In fact, there's only really one gimmick here, and it's the wind tunnels on the top path that are basically just glorified boost panels, and they don't even move around like the ones in Airtopia Ruins. However, even with how boring this track is, the core gameplay of Top Ride is so wacky and chaotic that it's still not all that difficult to have a good time here. But I still think that the others offer much better thrills. So if Crystal isn't a gem, then just maybe a universe is. Or maybe not. Because Nova is taking the number 8 spot. But to its credit, this one looks like an absolute shoo-in for last place at first glance. I mean, it's the only unlockable Top Ride track, and it has 2 out of 3 segments that are just straight lines. Are you kidding me? For some reason, Sakurai really just seems to have a thing for giving a space theming to the most ordinary stages imaginable. And it's hard to appreciate the portal gimmick when they're only here to assist that same bland linear track design. But fortunately for Nova, the straight paths are actually a bit more interesting than they initially appear, thanks to gradually tapering paths that help facilitate close quarters fights between the riders. And the ramp on the top half adds a bit more nuance for more aerial focused machines too. There's also the middle section, which has a pretty interesting layout, so even though there's certainly some Top Ride stages with far better design and pacing than Nova, and it may be all spaced out, I definitely say it's not astronomically bad. And then we have what is pretty much the exact opposite of Nova at number 7, Flower. It's the introductory Top Ride stage, and from where I stand, it succeeds on basically every front possible. It's short and sweet, it's paced well, and has 2 simple but effective gimmicks with the windmills and spinning platforms. Similarly to other beginning stages in my ranking videos, it's only placed this low because it has to bear the cross of introducing the player to the mode, and therefore it doesn't have nearly as much meat on its bones as the other 8 tracks. So even though there are greener pastures than Flower on this list, in a way, I do respect it quite a bit because of how good a job it does at helping new players blossom. And it turns out that all you have to do to turn Flower into a much better course is remove the last 2 letters of its name, because Flow is taking number 6, and there's a fairly large gap between how much I enjoy this one as opposed to the previous. It may be the second course chronologically, but it has no shortage of gimmicks to keep track of between the shifting tides, rocking boats, and of course the water geysers near the end that can make for a nice cinematic finish if you manage to get some air off of one. And it's not just the gimmicks that shine here, because the layout is pretty well paced with how it's able to seamlessly alternate between challenging the player with corners and then giving them something fun and unique to mess around with during the straightaways. I also love how mischievous this course's theme sounds. It really fits the tiny chaos of the mode like a glove, and it's without a doubt one of the most memorable tunes created for this game. I feel a wave of joy every time I play on this one, but there are still a few more that electrify me even more. Like number 5, nope, wrong one. There we go. Number 5, Cyber. Nova could learn a thing or two from this stage, because the usage of the portal gimmick here is pretty remarkable, and I especially like how the turntable from Flower makes a comeback immediately before the portal, which can cause you to unexpectedly speed right into it, which definitely helps to keep things interesting. The other big winner of this track is the dash floor, which switches between normal ground and a boost pad as you go over it. There's a lot of fun little strategies you can cook up with these things to make sure you get the most boost out of them while your opponents don't get squat. All things considered, Cyber is basically carried by its gimmicks, but that's nothing to be ashamed of with how central those gimmicks are to the track design in this mode. Now let's climb up to number 4, Mountain. This is without a doubt the better of the 2-lap top ride tracks. It's fairly light on gimmicks, but it more than makes up for it with its fun and feature-length layout. It's also definitely one of the most aesthetically pleasing stages in this mode, and I especially like just how many different types of terrain there are. You've got snow, leaves, bridges, sand, and water. It all really comes together nicely to tell a story of a dynamic voyage down a mountain, very similar to the air ride level this one's based on. There's not much else to say here. It's a course that's really easy to fall in love with. But now let's fly up to the top 3, starting with number 3, Air. This course has such an intimate understanding of its theming, and it really shows. Air leverages its gimmicks to make use of flying to an extent that none of the other top ride tracks do, and it's fun to see the different roles the clouds take depending on your elevation, as they give you some lift if you hit them from above, but act as a blind if you drive through them. It's also very fitting how this course has one of the most intricate rail sections, and it's always so much fun getting swirled around by the tornado beforehand, even if it doesn't always help me stay in the lead. And of course the layout is what makes all the gimmicks really pop. There's a bunch of nice straightaways that allow each special moment to breathe. I know I'm in for a good time when I take my ride to Air for some air in Air Riders. It's almost as good as number 2, Cave. This one completely blows the other cave track out of the water. You start off with 2 hairpin turns right out of the gate, and then it's just non-stop banger gimmicks from there. As cool as the barricade and minecarts are, the Golem is absolutely the star of the show. Not only do you have to watch out for his boulders, but sometimes they can even split open to reveal an item. There's just so much to love here, between the great gimmicks, the varied environments, the layout, and even the music really shines here too, because Spinning Jungle was such an unexpected but welcome pick for this stage's alternate track. With so much going for it, I wouldn't blame you for expecting me to cave in and give this one the top spot. And it was pretty close to getting first, but I think there's still one course that reaches even greater heights. And so the top ride track that I consider the best of them all is number 1, Steam. Yeah, this one scored its victory through sheer Looney Tunes level insanity. Not only are there a bunch of different gimmicks to keep track of, but they're all very unique and chaotic gimmicks that can change the match's outcome on a dime. There's just never a dull moment on this one. Either someone's getting their big comeback chance thanks to the secret passage, or someone's getting scooped up by the flipper wall on the right, and of course missing the double flippers on the left can really screw you over if you're not careful. I think this mode is at its best when you're looking down on a scene of complete pandemonium, and Steam is ultimately the best at consistently providing that thrill for me, even if tracks like Cave might have more compelling and diverse environments. And that's why when it comes to picking a champion from among Top Ride's tracks, I'll always proudly be on Team Steam. So there you have it, my ranking for all the Top Ride tracks in Kirby Air Riders. And in under 10 minutes too, making it the new shortest ranking video in my channel's history. So hopefully I did at least kind of succeed at capturing the tiny spirit of the mode. Should my next ranking project be about Air Riders again? Well, maybe you can help with that. Maybe share the video with some friends, like and subscribe, yada yada, and if the vid does well enough, then who knows? Maybe I'll do a follow-up ranking for the Air Ride mode tracks. Or don't, do whatever you want, I'm not your mom. But I do hope you enjoyed watching, and as always, thank you so much for lending me your ear. This has been Triple S, and until next time, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.